The last few weeks were a doozy, for reasons most will probably never understand, but a few who clicked on this video will definitely understand. First of all, I'm not a political commentator, and this channel is mostly an amateur media analysis based on comics, movies, and manga, and anything else that crosses my mind. I just happen to engage in a lot of online spaces, especially the left. I just happened to experience one of the worst debates and cringe hope sessions held by a YouTuber witnessed by men. The reason why I'm making this video isn't to bash FD Signifier, even though he is a snake, which I would inevitably prove in this video. Dishonest will be proven and maybe a genuine egotist. One of the main points that he loves to throw around on his YouTube channel, or the main side or stream channel, he even, I just found out, has a podcast channel, is that debate is pretty much useless. Did I tell you earlier in this video what actually happened? Because not only will I disprove his main claim, but also pretty much reveal why the online political sphere is a terrible environment that produces bare value. So let's get it started. About a month ago, Bad and Empanada responds to a claim made by Little Bill in a video that he uploaded a day ago. Just a tangent, but Little Bill is getting cooked in the comments. But this is no laughing matter because this response was just the beginning. After that reaction given by Bad and Empanada, most wouldn't care as much and consider it a fart in the wind, a wrinkle in the nose. Only nearly a week later, a live stream was held between several YouTubers, Jared Ball, Deculturation, FD Signifier, and finally Little Bill. You would think that the last video and the comments he received will make him reflect on his opinions, but he doubles down with FD coming in to the rescue. Well, Bad and Empanada will respond to that very video 4 days later. The back and forth would not be established yet, but Bad and Empanada will keep applying pressure and more pressure, not only on Little Bill, with another video on the 1st of May, which was the first time I discovered Bad and Empanada's beginning of the drama. I've always known about Bad and Empanada, but never truly watched him because I was in high school and further on into college with heavy obsession with movies, TV series, and music. I was preoccupied and, I had friends. I only discovered him, or better yet, rediscovered him through FD's tier list video mentioning and how he doesn't like him as much, and oh boy, he'll grow to hate him. That video was Bad and Empanada's statements and explanation why liberals, especially those of color, co-opt ideas he considers terrible based on their misunderstanding of American history, as they are also blind to American imperialism. I'll preface this that I'm not going into the extreme detail of every aspect of the drama except for the debates, but I would recommend watching the videos I discussed in the timeline I'm producing, as this is not really a recap channel. This video wasn't really what truly sparked the flame that would burn into this hilarious debate, but a reaction video by Bad and Empanada released on 3 days later about FD Signifier calling Zootopia 2 anti-Semitic. This video is important because it gives us one of the greatest and funniest villain speeches of all time.
The drama's about strategy, right, for Vash, because he's more charismatic, better looking, and willing to go full-blown racist. You're void of charisma. You look like a meathead. And your racism isn't quite up to the westernized YouTube standards. I know your hope is engagement, but it's not happening. This is all I'm giving you. And no, I won't be responding to the false narratives you've been pushing lately, because honestly, I don't have to. Both you and I know this. In fact, I'm only here to offer you help. YouTube rewards people who present part of themselves to an audience. People don't watch me because I'm the smartest and most principled leftist. People don't watch my long videos about obscure rappers they've never heard of because they care so much about that topic. They'll watch me cause they're invested in my perspective. They want to know what I'm thinking about almost anything. This is also why I don't talk about things I'm not super knowledgeable about in my content. They watch me because I'm entertaining. I am an entertainer. So are you. We all are. I learned this from you before I even started seriously making videos. And all you have to offer an audience is what you don't like about other people. It's only going to attract a certain type of viewer. Further, they'll only come around when you talk bad about the person they don't like. So maybe you got a few more new people who are shitting on me for the last month, but next month you're back on our side. Or whomever they will come back, cause they didn't watch this video for you. They watched it for me. This is why. They watched it for me. This is why I can make a 5-minute video about a 3-year-old anime, and you can make a video about me, my throwaways. It ends up being a third of your views despite being 30 minutes long. If you want more help on improving the health of your channel, feel free to email me for advice. The bottom line is this, Mr. Empanada. Who are you aside who holds the online left accountable? What do you like? What are you interested in? Do you have a favorite album, movie, artist? What are you besides a cipher for your audience to yell at strangers on the internet to distract them from their powerlessness in an uncaring world cascading into fascism? Your channel used to be something a filthy redditor, a filthy westerner could learn from. Now I'm just embarrassed to tell people I used to watch you. You can do better than this. You could be a good empanada. Sincerely, famous, wealthy YouTuber, FD Signifier.
Hi.
Personally, highly recommend going to original video and reading the comments exchange in real time. It's priceless. This exchange made me both laugh and realize that FD hasn't really changed since the Kidology incident. After that, Bad and Empanada makes another video on FD endorsing Grand Platinum. Honestly, we're not discussing that, but we are definitely discussing the clash on the 24th of May that left me in tatters and proved that FD doesn't debate because it's useless, but because he is incompetent and incapable of communication. So the live stream itself, I couldn't find it. I checked the channel, so it may have been Twitch or any other platform, but that's besides the point. But it was the re-uploaded edit that I watched. Noah prefaces the stream on how it is an informal debate with some parts clipped out. Keep that in mind, and how he was a terrible moderator, which is pretty much true. The debate doesn't start as soon as possible, but the early part of this does lay a solid foundation that shows why I don't really like FD Signifier that much and how dumb his audience can be. FD Signifier basically talks about Bad and Empanada without saying his name and calls his content drama content. One of the things I found strange about FD and other political creators, including left and the right, is that they love to misuse words or appropriate words in the wrong context. Bad and Empanada doesn't make drama content, as his videos, which is his live channel, is more akin to a reaction / journalism content similar to DeFranco, though his content is more focused on American news compared to Bad and Empanada's approach to international news, with some political analysis and few response videos. Bad and Empanada approaches making video content from an analysis standpoint, just like FD Signifier, but FD dismisses him just because he said his name once or twice. The drama channel accusation holds no water unless you, an FD Signifier fan who doesn't reflect on the things of FD, on the things FD claims or says. It's funny how he quotes Bad and Apanada's channel drama when he literally covered the Mag D Stallion incident and there's a side channel that looks like this. FD further complains about a specific YouTube short with the captions. In the video, FD Signifier basically says,
as Bill saw, like there's so many people waiting in the weeds to like, you know, label you a Zionist and a Jewish supremacist and a insert Nazi dog whistle here.
FD did say Zionism is a dog whistle, but not in a way it was presented on the YouTube short. When he listed the two terms, Zionism and Jewish supremacist, he also consciously added insert Nazi dog whistle as a placeholder that is comparable to the first original statement. Here's the issue. This code could also mean that FD was just saying and insert Nazi dog whistle without comparing it to the first two words, which also makes sense as FD was discussing how they are calling people out. As FD was discussing how there are people out there calling people names based on what they have said and done, then make content over it. This is a fair statement, but was badly articulated as it can be easily misunderstood. I'll give FD some grace that Bad and Apanada may have easily understood his original statement, but FD barely attempted to even tell Bad Apanada what he originally meant throughout the debate. After that, we need to discuss something poignant that was bothering me, is that FD Signifier doesn't really know how to analyze media and sucks at it. This is something not new in media analysis space, is that both political spaces suck at understanding arts and only truly engage with arts on a purely political stance, not acknowledging the cultural and artistic influences or even the artist's intent. FD does that specifically with the children's movie, and FD, you ain't getting out of this one. FD Signifier basically copes and calls his bad analysis Galaxy Brain. What is Galaxy Brain analysis? In the beginning, you never said that term or admit that analysis is just a momentary what if built on top of the film's premise. Like bro, you're not Alex Bale, like stop lying to your audience. Not only did you make a community post on your channel, also pinned and liked a comment that supported your statement with a vague argument that equivalates a rich animal family to Jews. Brother, a corrupt family is the oldest trope in like cinema and literature that isn't really synonymous with Jews. Let's expand on the topic and discuss the horror action movie They Will Kill You. Not only does FD gives a cringe millennial letterbox review, not understanding what is a maniac pixie dream girl, the closest trope she fulfills is the classic horror archetype of the final girl, and this movie also has a rich group of exclusive people. FD says the political messaging is half-baked, but never considers that maybe writers wanted the film to be a fun action horror with a cool final girl. I mean, the movie literally has a pig head and dumb millennial cringe irony humor. I might even add that the movie literally is about sisterhood and two estranged siblings who do anything to protect each other, even against the forces of nature that pulls them away from each other. Like, the force of nature itself is pretty much supernatural. FD still finds a way to make it about does capitalism. Other than that, Zootopia 2 is just a basic story about corruption and the dangers of capitalism that went over your head. Whether you like it or not, Bad and Apanada cooked on you on that one. And you even tried to accuse Bad and Apanada clipping the video in a certain way, only to find out,
you know, what within this 10-minute clip where and he cuts the first 5 minutes of me talking about being enjoying Galaxy Brain and analysis.
And he cuts the first 5 minutes of me talking about
I told y'all this morning when the spirit grabs me, but we will be live. Because I just came home from the movies and I'm not as angry as I was with one battle after another, but I'm not gonna down his hill yet, but I feel like I should have heard something about this. And the fact that I haven't heard anybody mention the
low-key anti-Semitic stuff.
Brother, this guy stinks!
in this movie, I'm wondering what's going on. Zootopia 2 has some interesting attempts at social commentary. And the last one had interesting attempts at social commentary. I want to be clear though, because like people, I don't even know what to call it, but like just normal people get on my nerves. It's people in the comments mad. I clearly gave the movie a 6 out of 10. People really hate to have things they like looked at in a meaningful way. And I don't know, it gets on my nerves. It gets on my nerves. Fire Lord Tony 13, you don't have to turn your brain off.
You don't have to. I find it more fun to enjoy things with my brain turned on. That adds a layer of interest for me. But maybe I'm the weird one.
I've talked a lot recently, well not a lot, but a fair bit recently, about how like the typical stereotypical of breadtubers, the old guard of breadtube.
I told y'all this morning, when the spirit grabs me, we will be live. Because I just came home from the movies, and I'm not as angry as I was.
With one battle after. And he cuts the first 5 minutes of me talking about.
But I feel like I should have heard something about this. And the fact that I haven't heard anybody mention the low-key anti-Semitic stuff.
The rest of the beginning of the stream is part coping and an actual decent discussion about how content creators discuss Zionism and FD trying to describe the YouTube platform. I mean, I can get nitpicky about those things, but I have ADHD, so I'm not very interested on those details. And the debate begins when Bad and Apanada jumps into the stream with FD's approval. Please remember that. When this debate begins, Bad and Apanada drops in a fury and confronts FD that he called him a Nazi. Did FD call him a Nazi? No, but FD does love to associate Bad and Apanada's image to Nazism and continues to do so after the debate. FD immediately tries to look for an escape hatch the moment he saw Bad and Apanada appear.
Straight to webcam mic.
1 second,
I didn't plan this.
It's my failure on not staying on code myself.
You can tell both sides seem pretty heated, but Bad and Apanada seems more composed as he actually lays a foundation for his arguments. Here's where the problem emerges for FD, is that his attitude is completely terrible. When it comes to debates, discussions, or informal arguments, listening is very important and a required element. If you don't listen what someone on the opposite side is saying to you, then the arguments that you will compose will sound stupid. How do I know that FD isn't paying attention? Well, he is on his phone at his lab and interjects Bad and Apanada when he's making an example with a cheeky comment, which even Noah Samson shuts down.
Do you understand
Answer the question
something?
you're evading. Did you use a Nazi dog whistle?
I'm going to explain
malign a
something
black
to
man
you.
on
I'm going
Twitter.
to explain a black man. Who gives a fuck if he's black or not? Okay,
I
here's
do.
what I'm going to
I give a
explain
fuck
to
if he's
you.
black or not. I think you
Have
should
you ever
do that.
heard? Have you heard of the Jewish?
You are
sect?
avoiding a
Chabad,
direct
Chabad.
question.
I'm
You-
answering the question to you.
Okay. All right. Let me
with
hear
a
it.
needed I'm fucking blown away. But anyway, this is the biggest religious Jewish
Group in the entire world. Of all the religious Jews, they are the biggest. In the United States, they are the biggest.
of Jewish supremacy. I know you don't think that, but entertain me for a second. Let's imagine.
That's we are living well, but go ahead.
FD Signifier pretty much committed number one sin, and not only in a debate but also having any form of a disagreement. You listen to what the other person is saying so you can actually respond. Then you can have an actual productive argument and conversation. Some might say, okay, what about Bad and Apanada? Did he dodge the question that was fronted by FD? Yes and no. Bad and Apanada doesn't answer directly, but he actually says that he will respond with an explanation on how one petty insult is actually meaningless, especially in the face of a genocide, and Bad and Apanada actually doesn't know how Zog Slave is a Nazi dog whistle, which was explained later in the debate by FD. FD could have explained why Zog Slave is a Nazi dog whistle instead of lampooning an accusation at Bad and Apanada, who reacted in confusion. Now I'm going to go on a tangent and explain how calling someone like a Nazi or a manga supporter is stupid based on dog whistles. Dog whistles is basically a collection of phrases or thoughts articulated in a specific manner when engaging with a group of people who already agree with you. It's basically saying the quiet thing out loud without actually saying it. The issue with dog whistles is that you can't assume someone's ideology or beliefs based on his or her speech patterns. Language doesn't develop in isolation, and other groups also adopt certain words or phrases, not fully understanding the implications and effects that they can have. Let's just say the word woke. Woke was a term used by African Americans to discuss how certain people in society are aware of systemic injustice. The term was later adopted by manga head supporters to label anything they consider bad or arbitrary towards American values. Now tell me, would you say from Idris' statement that he is a Trump supporter who wants to abort babies? No, you don't know his politics really well, and he is not a Trump supporter because he is a rich British dude too busy making movies. There are many examples of people using speech patterns that make them sound woke liberals only to learn they are grifters, or the opposite of centrists LARPing as radicals or racists to get famous. Dog whistles are a terrible way to determine someone's beliefs and inclinations, as speech is part of a puzzle that one needs to solve to determine another's politics. FD does this a lot and did this to Kidology, uttering false accusations that have no grounding. After Bad and Napanada explained the background of the entire disagreement and says that trying to focus on Nazism based on a petty insult is a waste of time when they could be discussing Zionism, FD basically disregards everything that's said and tries to shift the argument back to his dilemma. Personally, I didn't have a problem with this, as FD did start the engagement with his issue with the insults, and the problem I have is he never actually answers or engages with Bad and Empanada's points on whether the insult matters or not. Bad and Empanada basically admits that he said Zog slave, and you would expect FD to hear that so he can actually begin responding to Bad and Empanada's last point. He doesn't. He basically tries to turn the argument into an HR meeting where not only does he try to throw a red herring but commits a ad hominem to try and shame Bad and Empanada. After that, FD...
So do you think in this moment there might be more utility to perhaps not screaming Nazi whenever someone throws these sorts of terms back at these people who are literally Jewish?
These are people who literally
think. These are people who literally think. No, I'm explaining this to you. So goy, as the way these people use it, is a slur. So they use it against Palestinians as they kill them. Slave, goy, slave. Who cares?
Who gives a fuck? I do. I think it's weird for left. So first off, let's clarify. Thank you for that filibuster.
Did you or did you not call BGR or BRG? I'm not familiar. Did you or did you not call him a Zog slave on Twitter?
Absolutely. That term is fucking hilarious. Why shouldn't I?
So I don't think you should, because I don't think we should be operationalizing Nazi terminology to attack people we disagree with on the left. I think that's weird, unprincipled, and shitty. And I think that's why you have the reputation you have.
These are all just
like, oh, I think it's weird, shitty. Dude, who gives a fuck, okay? We live in an age...
A lot of people, you have... Listen, you can...
You're a Jewish right now, okay? And you're splitting hairs because I threw out this funny term at someone who supports Zionism.
You're calling me Jewish supremacy, but you're using their terminology the same way they would use it.
They wouldn't call someone a Zog slave.
What would they say?
Negatively. They want to hide that sort of thing. They want to hide this idea that...
So you're going masked off as a Jewish supremacist. So you're going masked off as a Jewish supremacist.
What the fuck does that mean?
Literally shows that he doesn't really understand Jewish supremacy, which is just Zionism, but tries to conflate Zionism to Nazism. There's a reason why I said early in the debate that not listening would bite FD Signifier's ass in the long run. Instead of listening and basing his reasonings on Bad and Empanada's statements and responses, he basically throws a bunch of random statements trying to attack Bad and Empanada's characters or even his looks. I believe that FD thinks that because Goy is a racial remark used by Jews must make anyone a Jewish supremacist. The term Goy became popular through around the release of the Epstein files, when the term Goy was seen on the documents used by certain wealthy people to make fun of the average person who was considered non-Jew. Since then, Goy was used in jokes to make fun of themselves, which led to the term Goy slave, which was to make fun of other people in political and non-political contexts. Saying Goy doesn't make you a Jewish supremacist, especially the context that it is used. There's a reason why using dark whistles is a way to determine someone's ideology is dumb, because FD did that only to make himself look stupid. FD does accuse Bad and Empanada of being an attention hog, saying he makes drama content, even though early on I made a point how dumb FD's point, especially when taking into account his second field pop culture channel, which sometimes borders on spectacle and drama way more than Bad and Empanada. FD gets so emotional that it genuinely looks embarrassing, because how is someone critiquing you on political points that troublesome? FD throughout the debates is looking for a way to retort and undermine Bad and Empanada than actually engaging with the actual cause of the debates or any stances taken by Bad and Empanada. FD continues to reframe a petty insult into a slur, which literally is tone policing Bad and Empanada while deflecting Bad and Empanada's responses. There comes my favorite moments when FD tries to define the term principled only to say something that actually doesn't support the original definition.
Are affected by slurs.
So
Most
we're
people
talking about
use-
political issues here, and your response is basically, "Oh, you're not nice enough."
No,
Oh, you use
principled enough. Is that what you're doing? Is unprincipled.
This is not what
and not
principles.
useful.
Being principled means actually sticking to what you believe in. Rather
No.
Being principled means to principally put forth the movement.
They're not even
You're a
responding
part
to
of-
what.
This scene baffled me and just caught me like wheezing, because where are you, FD? FD always constructs arguments assuming that you understand him and know that you are talking about when nobody knows where you are and where you're going. When having discussions or writing an essay or just arguing, clarity is important, because people don't have the same lived experience as you and have different educational backgrounds. There's a reason why FD loves to talk to the people he likes, because he never has to explain himself, or they just let him get away with his bullshit, like how he lets little Bill get away with his bullshit. Formulating a premise, an idea, a thesis, or a simple statement needs to be clear when talking to someone who may not know what you're talking about, as things will get lost in translation. I personally don't know where FD's being principled definition comes from, but he should have phrased his question better alongside his retort. After that moment happens, where FD basically says that what Bad Empanada is doing is basically useless, only for Bad and Empanada to retort with, "I will at least try." It's nice to see there are people in the world who are still trying to help, either through education or raising awareness. I went through a similar nihilism phase of shit is, messed up, there's no point in trying. After a while, I grew out of it as I realized I'd rather die a warrior than a beggar, so sometimes finding in ways you are talented in and capable of is more important than falling into a pit of despair. That was a slight tangent, but there's more. One of the things I hate about FD is how he keeps switching his stances in mere seconds. Earlier he denied Bad and Empanada's claims and even support Little Bill that also denies Jewish supremacy, only for him now to say, "I didn't deny it." Bro has the memory of a goldfish, because he literally has the debate within small retorts and doesn't attempt to keep record on what he has said and also what Bad and Empanada said, but acts in the moment. It's quite cringe and embarrassing, honestly. Bad and Empanada does make a pretty good in comparison that the N-word is actually more harmful compared to going "Oh, Zog slave." The N-word actually is harsh and has a terrible history, while "boy" is just a petty insult used by other people to make fun of yourself or others in the context of Goy being a slur made against non-Jews. FD's response to that point is one for the books.
How does saying calling a black man a slave change?
A goy slave, whatever.
First off, Zog slave. This term Zog, again, from the Turner Diaries, the Nazi Bible.
I mean, Zog is like even
your
less
defense.
of a,
Your defense has
less,
been
like calling some
No,
Zionist occupied.
but-
That doesn't even make
your
sense.
defense has been, who cares? That's hilarious. By that
That
rationale,
wasn't my defense. That my defense was prefaced with something about how right now it's important that we challenge these sorts of idiotic
why
frameworks
can't
of like
use
Jewish
those
supremacy,
frameworks
Jewish
without
exceptionalism.
using clearly offensive, fundamentally unprincipled, and distracting language? Because if you think that allows
I
you to
do that all the fucking time.
Then call me the N-word right now on camera.
I said
Why? Then why?
I
Then
said
why
I
won't
respond
you
to
call
these
me-
things in the
then-
way that
then
you
that
say
is
I
not-
should all the time.
Why won't you
Call me a nigger right now.
Because
If you
how is that relevant to it? Why would I call you that?
Because it
What
should
do you what we're
understand the
saying at all?
difference, Mr. Empanada.
I
It shows that
explained
you-
the difference.
No.
This
FD loves to shift the goalpost whenever he is cornered instead of listening and responding to Dad and Apelada's arguments. It's like clockwork. He either pouts like a child or gets on his phone scrolling in this interest, then who respond with either with a ad hominem or a red herring. It's like watching a terribly programmed NPC in a video game keep using the same dumb strategy. I honestly feel bad for Bad and Apanada because you can tell he's asking himself, why am I arguing with someone who doesn't listen to what I'm saying but keeps making stuff up that was never said? It's just sad and hilarious with the side of cringe. And I thought I was going to binge watch Heap Show around this weekend, especially the fact that FD conflates slave with goy slave, which is synonymous to Zog slave at this point of the debate. Calling a black man a slave is offensive to black people, but the context of goy slave literally means bootlicker and literally nothing to do with slavery. How FD jumps to his conclusions is Olympic level high jump performance that a man of culture would appreciate. IDF Signifier was the word on the streets when I woke up, when this debate was whispers in the grimy streets of YouTube. I mean, that nickname is well deserved when you're ignorant in a debate that could have ended well. Would have FD won? Hell no. Even when he played the game fair, he would lose because he doesn't understand what he's talking about. I mean, this entire debate could have been avoided if FD wasn't so hyper-focused on blackness while being a staunch liberal. In this entire debate, FD loves to default to blackness as some sort of shield to protect himself from criticism. I mean, his entire YouTube image built on top of blackness but supplied by American liberal brain rot mentality. FD always loves to toss the words out like white liberal as if it has deeper meaning than a white guy who happens to be a liberal. There's the reason his entire debate strategy is using the fact that a black man got called a petty insult that happens to have the word slave in it as basis for his entire debate against why we should derail efforts of awareness and discussions of Zionism and genocide. Is not hilarious but quite scary. Some people have forgotten that not only does this man have an audience, but a big audience who reflects his own attitude and a lack of understanding of current situations, or basic critical thinking. I love how someone described not only FD's audience but most people who consume a lot of political content treat liberalism, communism, or anarchism as just an aesthetic. How would you think his audience after the debate still defended him and thought the debate was won by him by default because he was a black man victimized? I was a college student and I never understood how white people who are liberal stand with but treat them like children, as they need to be led by hand and protected like children until I saw this debate. FD, I mean not only FD but most liberals of different races allow white liberals to have this view of us because they themselves act like this within their midst. FD Signifier was called on his Cope stream where he continues that terrible rhetoric with his audience and talks shit about Bad and Apanada in his echo chamber with his audience. I will not discuss the stream, but given the benefit of the doubt and just discuss his Cope video on his second channel. Remember how I said FD Signifier is terrible when it comes to media analysis? I mean, to tell the truth, I don't know who Malabora Man is because Camel Joe is way fucking cooler. So I'll just focus on 3 characters that FD brings up. Don Draper, Joe Miller from The Last of Us, and finally Walter White. On the surface, especially if you never actually engage in these stories, then there are villains, but they actually aren't villains. Don Draper is the archetypical attractive white man considered desirable in the peak of 50s and 60s of mainstream culture. Suave, domineering, intelligent, and mainly enigmatic. His family even fits the perfect ideal frame of a perfect white family with a perfect beautiful wife. Does an amazing job serving the ideal image of that time. Weakness is shift from the 50s to the burgeoning 60s, following alongside characters that go through changes. Don Draper is a serial adulteress with a complex relationship with his identity that he not only cultivated but was forced upon by people around him, fueled by, the views of the time, which is also fueled by marketing. The very thing Don Draper helps in creating. Don Draper immediately seems like a bad person, but we see a lot of moments of tenderness and love that is marred by his misdeeds tied to his malfunctioning identity. Don Draper loves his children, actually looks after his employees, and doesn't enjoy engaging much in racism. Some might say, well, Don Draper's lack of engagement being against racism kind of makes him a villain for me, and I'll say that's fair, but we need to consider the writer's approach to writing Don Draper. Don Draper is both a complex and deep character that's written carefully to be distant enough from the world of the 50s and 60s as to allow us as the audience to experience that time period as honestly as possible. Concerning his misdeeds with women, from a business partner, her children's teacher, and finally even his neighbor can actually be tied to the theme of ideal image created through the media. Don Draper is an ideal man that any woman would want to have romantic entanglement or even more. Don Draper allows himself to fall into the image, yielding to these desires as he tries to reinforce his current identity. Throughout the show, we get glimpses of Don Draper losing grip of his identity or reality pulling him back to the past, and this relationship's occurrence seems to reinforce his identity. Don Draper is Don Draper. Can also tie to his earlier sexual assaults, seeing himself lesser coming from a poor working class background and trying to find his identity in others. When he gets proven from time and time again that these women will never tell him who he is.
My generation, we drink because it's good. Because it feels better than unbuttoning your collar. Because we deserve it. We drink because it's what men do.
What about shaky hands? I see a lot of that too with you boys.
No joke. Your kind with your gloomy thoughts and your worries, you're all busy licking some imaginary wound.
Not all imaginary.
Yeah, boo-hoo.
When it comes to discussing Joe Miller, I'll keep it really short simply because I never finished the games, but definitely played the game, watched enough video essays, and discussing with the fans to learn that Joe Miller isn't really a villain when you consider the themes of the story. The creator and the writer of the games did say that the basis of the story is about morality, especially with the ending being so shocking and impactful. Joe is a man who lost his daughter and basically loses his soul, becoming merely a ghost in a dying world, doing whatever it takes to survive, only for his cruel tackling of the conflicts to become required assets to help him take a little goat's Firefly base to find a cure. The game does an amazing job throughout the journey of the narrative and gameplay, getting the player to love and care for Ellie, so when you had to murder and kill the scientists and the gods to save a girl, and taking away humanity's last shot to turn the tables, Joe chose the love of a child and allowed himself to open himself again to receiving and giving love, but also finally got to be a father again. From the outside, this may seem horrifying. I mean, it's pretty bad, but for the players, it's kind of justified. That's where the question of morality versus ethics comes into play, and how does one's own needs matter more than the general society, even if one's sacrifice will create a better future. Let's get to Walter White, because he's basically the left's favorite punching bag of that he's a villain, nothing more or less, which is true if you skip season 1 and the last season while watching it on your phone. I mean, that statement also goes to the fans that weirdly have a deep hatred for Skylar, though everything she does is both logical and expected. She's a mother of a child, a wife, and struggling to make ends meet in a terrible economic period. Like, please get a grip, guys. Walter White is simply a chemistry teacher who, after meeting his ex-student, becomes a drug dealer due to his aggressive cancer and a lack of money or to even afford treatment. The decent hook met with a character with a major flaw, which is his pride, as we quickly learn that Walter is an egotist who never grew out of his past failures and seeks to wrestle little of control in his life. Walter begins handling the business as himself, but creates an alter ego called Heisenberg, which is just a way for him to exercise power and gain power to satisfy his ego. The problem is that his ego can never be filled, and Heisenberg just wants to be powerful. There's a reason why the entire show is always centered on Walter's attempt to have more power but cannot wield it properly due to his ego. You can make a direct link of Walter White to Macbeth and with how his pride becomes the end of him. There are many other things in play that influences his character's rise to become kind of an anti-hero, then villain, then finally tragic character. Shit, the last three characters that I spoke of are basically all tragic characters, even though FD will say, oh, but these characters fulfill the power fantasy of edgy white guys. Yes and no, not every white guy who watches Breaking Bad wants to be a drug dealer and do harm, but relates to some aspects of Walter White, even with the other characters on the show. Most of the edgy white guys who misunderstand the show are not only rare, but a small minority that get laughed at by most of the fans. All of these three characters are not villains, as they are pretty much tragic characters that are not only victims of their own personality, character flaws, or even strengths. The simplification of these characters' roles in their respective stories is not only reductionist and terrible, but also does a disservice to the amazing writing done by a few in Hollywood, especially Madman. Simplifying Don Draper as a villain is a wild statement to the fans of the series that can only happen among FD's audience, as the identity politics leftist is incapable of actual media analysis or even capable of consuming media appropriately. The rest of the video is him literally just recontextualizing his YouTube career and also basically restating his beliefs and opinions that he adopted from Bad and Empanada without credit. The whole video basically feels like a rebrand disguised as an apology without the apology, but consistent effort to rebrand himself different from the white leftists. He basically does a perfect mix of PR and therapy speak that lulls his audience while trying to save his reputation as soon as possible. FD Signifier has a strange obsession with blackness and victimhood that keeps bubbling above the surface of the way he discusses YouTube, white leftists, or any form of opposition. FD Signifier loves to discuss blackness with positives and negatives, which I originally followed him for, such as his video on black male masculinity. FD Signifier loves and understands not only blackness in the American context, but has a decent understanding of blackness even in Africa, though pretty flawed. His content does bring a large black audience and a white audience, making his position as a content creator on the left peculiar. FD pretty much began as an anti-leftist YouTuber who is leftist, with most of his opposition composed of white leftists, basically Vosh. FD bases it mostly on simply that white leftists discuss topics that has to deal with people of different groups like black people to be flawed, and that they are mostly debate bros who try to debate all day. Which is true, even though I did defend debating and illustrating that debating is only performative and terrible if you don't know how to debate, which most people like Vosh and Destiny do not to an extent. These critiques were valid and liked them, but I started to notice a weird pattern that FD Signifier loves to see himself against a strange force after him and seems to pin it purely on his blackness. Yes, there's definitely those that have and will try to attack, whether verbally or physically motivated by his blackness and politics. Problem is that he carries that attitude everywhere, even into a debate when
someone better than another literally critiqued him but never tried to attack him. FD Signifier seems to default into hiding behind his blackness when a perceived threat appears and swears that he avoids debate or interacting with white leftists as if they're dangerous. The only danger he faced in the debate or the platform was just getting criticized, and immediately started using words like rage baiting and trolling while not understanding the implication of these words. After the debate, he literally rushes to reach for the closest black radical literature to seek comfort in their words. Then the fact that his blackness doesn't make him any less different than a white leftist. FD seems to engage in any radical black thought like an aesthetic, similar to Beyonce, Jay-Z, especially from someone who is technically from an upper middle class background synonymous with white liberals. FD understands that though he is a student of black radical thought and is aware of leftist defiances, can't seem to pass that he's simply becoming the center of their very issue and deludes himself that the white leftists or YouTube is out to get him. It's way easier to see the world as if it is against you than actually reflects on the fact that you are contributing to the issue in itself in some way or the other.